everyone! In this video, I'll be setting up a new journal for the rest of 2020. I'll be sharing 5 things that I considered when moving from my existing journal to my new one. I'll be using the Archer & Olive Signature A5 journal. Thank you so much, Archer & Olive, for gifting this to me. I love it. It's 160 pages, which will be more than enough to cover September to December. September always feels like a fresh start as we transition from summer to autumn, and it introduces new feelings and thoughts. So it feels perfect. New season, new journal. I'm starting by flipping through my current journal to see which setup spreads I really want to migrate to the new one. Once I'd decided what to carry over, I drafted the layout in my current journal to clarify the design and the layout. I started by setting up an index in my new journal. For me, the index is useful in the future when I'm looking for something in particular, and not so much right now. I'll leave a space here for it, and when I get some time, I need to number the pages and fill out the index. I decided to set up a future log for September to December, even though I haven't used my current one this year, which led me to the first consideration when deciding on what to migrate. Does this spread deserve a second chance? I can see how useful it can be to log future dates, events or tasks, but I just didn't use it. There weren't many events this year due to lockdown, but I could have used it for future dated tasks, and that could have been really useful. I have done that in previous journals, but for some reason I just didn't do it this year, but I feel like trying again. I'm going to leave a bigger space to write down my tasks in my future log, which will hopefully make it feel less precious and encourage me to use the space freely for anything that pops to mind. I also plan to build a monthly reset checklist and can include a prompt in there to update my future log and migrate tasks. In terms of design, I'm keeping it simple and sticking to a similar style to the one I used when I set up my 2020 journal, but with some craft paper added to it. I'm really enjoying my vintage modern theme for August, so I wanted to sneak a little bit more of it into here. Initially, I thought I'd need to transfer my annual mood and wellness trackers into my new journal, but when I thought about why I have these trackers, I remembered that I set them up mostly to have an annual overview of my mood and wellness activities. So I thought it might make sense to keep them in the old journal. So the next consideration was, what is the purpose of this spread? What was my intention when I set it up? Even though it's not ideal going to my old journal to update it, I think my future self will enjoy and benefit from seeing these in one place. I always journal at home, so it should be easy enough to have my old journal within easy reach. I'll see how it goes for this year and then decide on how I want to manage this next year. Similarly, I'll leave my books and film spreads in my existing journal. I don't need them in my daily life, so for the last 4 months of the year, it's probably worth making the effort to update my first journal as part of my daily or weekly reset process. Next, I have my goals. In my journal, I had my annual goals list that I set up at the beginning of the year. Then in June, I did a 5-4-3-2-1 goal spread to prioritise my goals. And I did a mid-year check-in to see which goals were on track and which ones had changed or been added. This seems like a lot of different spreads for goals, I know, but I had so much fun doing them, and they all helped keep me motivated at different points in the year. After reviewing all of these spreads, I decided the best thing to do with my goals in the new journal is to redesign the goal setup to highlight priorities for the rest of the year. I'm doing this by setting up the same goal spread that I did in my first journal, but this time with 2 categories: focus and continue. The goals that are on track will go in the continue section and won't require too much of my attention. The goals that still need work will go in the focus section. I won't migrate any goals that are complete or no longer relevant. This redesign will help direct my focus towards my priorities for the rest of the year. Next, I'm adding 2 new spreads. One to write up my journal purpose, another to capture my preferred style. Reminding myself of the purpose will help me create spreads that are functional and meaningful to me, and hopefully valuable to everyone I share them with. So to get the best out of your next journal, take this opportunity to review what you value and what has worked well in your journal. I'm making some craft paper roses inspired by Caitlin's Corner. I saw her do this in her August plan with me and I loved it. You just add some colour to the craft paper, draw a rose and cut it out so it looks like a sticker. The roses are pretty easy. I just started with 3 petals in the middle and added more around them using wavy lines and filling in all the gaps with petals until it forms a rose. Thanks, Caitlin, for this lovely idea. The things I really value and want from my journal are to be intentional with my time, to identify ways to add meaning to each day, to highlight meaningful accomplishments, to focus on activities that bridge the gap between goals and tasks, to reconnect with myself, to record memories and moments, to share my reflections and creativity, to encourage good habits, personal growth, gratitude, and simple things. In terms of style, it's easy to get influenced by what you see on Instagram every day and lose sight of what you love. So here I'm going to remind myself of the aesthetic that I like, the colours I've enjoyed using the most, and I'm leaving a spot to write down any new things I want to try. I'm now putting together a quote page. I found this vintage sheet music paper on Pinterest, which I thought I'd try out. I'll provide the link in the description box below. The next consideration is there a word, quote, or phrase that can help you flourish this year? For me, it's trust the process. This page will be a reminder for me to trust the process and enjoy the journey. For example, I'd love to grow my YouTube channel and share what I create to as many people as possible, but I appreciate that it requires good quality, meaningful content and consistent effort. I don't rely solely on motivation. I believe that following your ideal habits and processes are what get you to your goal. So if I have days where I feel disheartened and I don't feel like doing anything, I'd like to remind myself to just trust the process, reflect, create, and share. Finally, I'm writing up some reset checklists. Things to help me reset monthly, weekly, and daily. Every month I need to update my finance tracker that I share with my husband, tidy up my notes in my note-taking apps, update my content planner, and carry out my monthly planning process that I talk about in my monthly How I Plan videos. When getting ready for the week, I like to set up my weekly spread, migrate task lists, set goals for the week and update certain trackers. In the daily reset list, I'm reminding myself to set one key highlight for the day in my journal. That's the one meaningful activity that I want to prioritise and protect each day. I also try to write a could-do activities list for the kids, and I like to reflect in the evenings, look through my journal, update my gratitude log, and note down any significant moments from the day. These lists aren't set in stone. I'll aim to use and refine them until I'm really happy with them. So there's my setup for the rest of the year. It's always difficult deciding on what to transfer to a new journal midway through the year, so I hope sharing my own thought process was helpful for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.